I know many of you are wondering what exactly is going on with the IRS. Taxpayers who have checked the Where's My Refund tool on the IRS website have reported seeing a message that says your return is being processed. In some cases, this message might stay on there for weeks or even months. Now, the your return is being processed message might be annoying if it keeps popping up over and over again, but it actually carries good news. That's because it means the IRS got your tax return, so you don't have to sweat that there was an issue with them receiving it. According to tax experts, the IRS has been able to process most returns and issue refunds within 21 calendar days of receiving a return. But the agency has run into a massive backlog since the beginning of the crisis, caused by a combination of staff shortages and more complex returns.
It's about our global responsibilities, yes, but in addition to that, it's about therapies that are early interventions into, and again, we fought to make sure that they didn't take any money out of the pockets of localities, but they...
that include federal stimulus payment income. The IRS recently reassigned 1,200 employees to answer calls and help with the backlog. It said in a statement last month that it expects to have most refunds dispersed within 21 days this tax season. But the IRS has said that even so, you should not be surprised if your refund is delayed. And everybody, there are steps you can take to prevent delays. According to CNN, these include filing your return online, choosing direct deposit, double checking that all the information is accurate, and making sure you sign the return before sending it off, and ensuring that it is sent to the right IRS processing center. Now, everybody, as the crisis is still ongoing, there are millions of people that are worried about the future. But there are over 20 states and cities that have agreed to finally send out their own form of relief.
Okay, I'm delighted to be and now, thank you for listening.
Very much. Yeah.
The Democratic Leadership Etymology course. Okay, well, I'm proud to be joined by Senators Durbin, Murray, and Stabenow. And as you know, a lot's happening this week.
Two of the country's biggest cities are committing millions of dollars to help struggling families. Los Angeles and New York are rolling out guaranteed basic income pilot programs. They'll provide monthly payments to low-income residents for 1 year. Los Angeles' program, which is called Big Leap, will give 3,200 people $1,000 a month. Then Chicago's initiative will provide 5,000 residents with $500 a month. Applications for Los Angeles initiative have just closed Friday, but Chicago is still hammering details for its program, and both are set to launch soon. The programs, which will be the largest of their kind, build on momentum generated by small initiatives, like the 2-year pilot in Stockton, California, which was found to increase participants' full-time employment and decrease anxiety. About 40 other U.S. cities have considered or implemented similar efforts, according to mayors for a guaranteed income, including Minneapolis, Denver, Newark, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, and San Francisco. Last year in July, Los Angeles County supervisors approved a 3-year pilot program for residents ages 18 to 24, and California is also looking into the potential of launching a statewide initiative. Previous attempts to provide direct cash assistance have largely yielded positive results, but economists question whether similar programs can be replaced on a large scale. The idea of giving direct cash assistance to low-income residents has been proposed by economists, legislators, and community leaders, and it has gained significant momentum during the crisis. So the Democrats have just announced a new deadline to pass a bill that would continue to provide more people with benefits as the crisis continues. And if lawmakers don't reach a deal soon on the bill, well, the federal government is going to shut down. So first, the House of Representatives has just passed a new bill, everybody. And the House of Representatives voted this week to make sweeping investments in American manufacturing and scientific research, as well as changes to trade policy in an effort to make the U.S. more competitive on the global stage. Congressional Democrats are searching for a win as key elements of Joe Biden's domestic agenda continues to be negotiated on. Passage of the bill will give the Democratic Party an opportunity to tout a legislative victory and demonstrate responsiveness to major economic concerns, like supply chain disruptions. And I know many of you are wondering how this bill will affect the American people. Well, the legislation put forward by the House Democrats called the America Competes Act of 2022. The bill addresses pressing economic issues facing the Biden administration, including supply chain disruptions and a global shortage of chips, which are essential for the production of smartphones, medical equipment, and cars. The final tally of the House vote was 222 to 210, with the bill passing on a near party line vote. One Republican, Representative Adam of Illinois, voted in favor, and one Democrat, Stephanie Murphy of Florida, voted no. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told reporters earlier this week that she was confident House Democrats would be able to pass the measure without Republican support. Chuck Schumer said this week that he thinks the bill will pass the Senate very soon. So, the current House legislation
HIV/AIDS program. But anybody who's watching the news knows what's happening with the war crimes that are being imposed on Ukraine by a much larger neighbor, Russia, under the unbelievable, irresponsible leadership of Vladimir Putin. So we've included a $13.6 billion bipartisan agreement to provide emergency assistance to Ukraine and our NATO allies. $13.6 billion. It has the necessary resources to bolster the defense capability of the Ukrainian military, but also our regional allies and partners. But it also supports the implementation of economic sanctions and export restrictions on Russia. And importantly, it addresses the evolving humanitarian crisis. It's horrible, tragic humanitarian crisis. This resulted from President Putin's unprovoked attack on the Ukrainian people. An attack I call a war crime. The escalating crisis President Putin has inflicted on Europe poses the greatest threat to democracy and national sovereignty in a generation. And this is an area where the American people overwhelmingly support the people of Ukraine. This is not a Democratic or Republican issue. This is a human rights issue. This is where Americans stand with the people of Ukraine. But I remember a few years ago when I was chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, I joined with my friend Mike Crapo, another senator, and we reauthorized the Violence Against Women Act. We dramatically increased it, improved it. We added Native Americans. We added the LGBTQ community. And we added the sexual exploitation of children. Well, the Violence Against Women Act has been stuck. It hasn't been reauthorized. This bill does. It reauthorizes the Violence Against Women Act. VAWA continues to be one of the most consequential laws addressing the scourge of violence against women and domestic violence in our country. I remember how bad it was when I was a prosecutor, but it's become far, far worse today.